Okay, so we're going to look at the different operations we can do. This is in section 0.1, and we're kind of looking at exercises 17 through 40. What we want to remember over here is our PERMDAS or PEMDAS. I add R's because radicals are in it. Everything on one of these lines has equal precedence. And then our grouping symbols help group things together. So if we look at a couple of these problems and just keep this in mind as we're working our way through, these do the things at the top first and work your way down to the bottom. So number 18, the thing we want to notice is there's two multiplications. Multiplication is of a higher order than addition and subtraction. So we do the multiplications first. And then we have three additions here. So we add them all together, and that finishes the problem. It's 2 plus 18 is 20, and 20 plus 20 is 40. Now, we can look at what happens when we get some grouping symbols in. So I'll look at 22, which is 4 times 6, 5 minus 9. Now, there's a couple ways to think about this. When I see a grouping symbol like these here, in my mind, I'm going, this is one thing. The grouping symbol is a block of stuff. And so I'm looking, in essence, at three multiplications. 4 times 6 times whatever comes out of the parentheses. And I'll just put it like this for now, right? Whatever comes out of those parentheses. So to do the multiplications, we've got to figure out what's coming out of that parenthesis block first. So 4 times 6 times negative 4. Right. And so 4 times 4 is 16. Negative 16 times 6. Right, 4 times 4 is negative 16. That negative sign there. And then that's going to be 6. We get negative 96. Let's see, 6 times 6. Yep. Reach my calculator. And so good. We can use parentheses, and we can use our grouping symbols. There's a couple of neat exceptions, or not exceptions, but subtle rules to look at. And 30 really illustrates why our notation does certain things. So this is an application of the distributive property, and the key to this in 30 is this negative out front is really saying negative 1 times what's inside our grouping symbol. So at this point, we have an addition or subtraction with a multiplication out. We can use that our distributive property here. AB plus AC. All right. Well, in this case, it's negative, but the rule still applies. So negative 1 times 4A is negative 4A. Negative 1 times negative 2B is plus 2B. And so there's the application of our distributive property using our grouping symbols. We're going to look at a fraction, and so we're going to look at 39 specifically, which you should have done in the homework. So negative 4 times 5 minus 5 over negative 5. Now, one of the things that happens is there are hidden grouping symbols in this style of writing division. So we have to do the top completely, then the bottom. Now the top has a multiplication, which will get done first, negative 20 minus 5 divided by negative 5, which is equal to negative 25 divided by negative 5. Let me make this in here. A negative divided by a negative is going to be positive, and so that's positive 5. But remember, in divisions, you can think of the numerator and denominator being encased in one of our grouping symbols. And the last one I'm going to look at is number 40, because it's an example of the complexity of this. So I get negative 6 times 2x plus 3y minus larger grouping symbol 3x minus 2 minus 5y, and closing out our grouping symbols. Now here, this larger grouping symbol is probably a good place to start. We'll want to simplify this down. So we look at the inner grouping symbol, and there's nothing we can simplify. These terms aren't like terms, they're not going to blend. But we have this negative out here. So we can distribute that negative through everything. So my first step, I'm going to be taking this larger grouping symbol, and I will be simplifying what comes out of that. So negative 3x, and I want to distribute the negative to each of these. That's going to give me minus 2 plus 5y. And so that's this grouping symbol now. I'm going to leave this over here for right now. And then we're going to continue to condense down. And so we're going to distribute this negative sign to everything in that grouping symbol. So negative 6 2x plus 3y. Oops, that made my y look like a y. There we go. Minus 3x. Minus 3x plus 2 minus 5y. Everything gets distributed through. We've liberated everything from that grouping symbol, and now we want to distribute this negative 6 to the next grouping symbol. So this is going to go here and here. So negative 12x minus 18y minus 3x plus 2 minus 5y. Well, now we can combine like terms because we have no grouping symbols, no more multiplications, so I'm going to start with my x's. That's minus 15x. Move to my y's. So that's minus 23y. And then in my 2, just hanging out here on its own. And this is how we use our different operators.